friends, it's Laura from Cool Mom and Collected, and I thought today would be a great day to do a video all about full-time RV living with kids. 3 out of my 4 kids are here, so you're probably gonna hear some noise in the background. Thank you so much in advance for your cooperation. Since having my 4th child, which by the way I had unexpectedly at home, right there in my bathroom. It was not planned, it was very crazy, but it had the father's hand all over it. I'm gonna link that video here and in the description box below. I asked you guys on Instagram to give me some of your most wanted to know questions regarding full-time RV living with kids, and I've got all your questions. I'm ready to respond, so we're gonna answer them now. First question, in such a small space, how do you find me time? I get my me time during my kids' naps, which is really a 2-hour afternoon nap where all the kids are sleeping, and then at nighttime from around 7:30 till whenever mommy wants to go to bed. How did you downsize when first moving in, and how do you stay organized now? At the time me and my husband decided that we were gonna move into an RV, we were really in the mode of like, let's just sell everything, let's just get rid of everything, and let's put it towards repairs or towards renovations. My husband and I have never really been settled in one place. We've always hopped around from apartment, we lived in a house once, to apartment, we lived with family at one point. So we've never really been the couple that has been rooted firmly in one home for the 10 years that they've been married. That might make my story a little different from yours. If you have been solid and living in one place and rooted down, then you might actually find it more challenging than I did to get rid of things. We've never wanted to be tied down to things, so it really was a piece of cake for us. We were putting things on Facebook Marketplace, and pretty much that's it, just Facebook Marketplace, getting rid of things. Obviously, when we first moved in, we did see a reality check of, whoa, we still have a lot, and so we just maybe did another quick downsize from there. We try to stay organized by making sure that everything we bring has a place and a purpose. We are constantly having this decluttering mindset. Do we need it? Do we love it? Is it helpful? Is it necessary? These are the types of questions that we're asking ourselves before we bring things into the house. And yeah, there's still been plenty of times where we bring something in and we're like, yeah, we're gonna use this, and we quickly realize, yeah, there's no room for this. You know what? If I had a bigger house, I would keep this, but that's not for my season. I don't want to hoard things and hold on to it as we move from place to place. When you live tiny, if something just serves one purpose, it's probably not living its best life in terms of being super functional for you. So we try to find ways to have different multi-purpose ways of functionality, and that helps us stay organized. How long have you lived in an RV? How long do you plan on living this way, and what's the end goal? We moved into our RV, oh man, August 1st, 2 years ago. So when August 1st hits 2022, we will be RV living for 2 years, which is really exciting. Like I said, I'm not planning on moving out anytime soon, and I would much rather live here than like an apartment or a home right now. We plan on living this way as long as it takes to find home. The end goal would basically be to start a homestead, even live tiny on land and start a homestead, and then build afterwards. And when I say build, I still mean build tiny. Somebody asked, why did you want to do RV living in the first place? We really got into this journey because we were trying to find home. We didn't know where home... Why am I balancing this on my head? Ouch, hit my nose. We were sick of being tied down to areas we did not like, that were extremely expensive in terms of rent, and we just felt trapped, quite frankly. My husband and I used to joke, like, you wanna just like live in a van with the kids, and you know, I'll go to work and we'll just save until we figure out where we wanna be. Well, it turns out we kind of did that, but on an RV scale. My husband's actually in the military, and when we had our first big year of travel, we were traveling around with the military. We decided it would be so much smarter to live on wheels, because when the military called, we would already have everything we needed in our RV, ready to move, ready to go wherever we needed. And it just seemed like the smarter option than living in hotels with the kids and not really feeling like home. So that was huge for us. It was a complete family decision. Even the kids were excited about it. With the RV, the amount of freedom that I feel, I can't even explain to you. I've lived in a house before, and an RV is like better for my mental health somehow than any other place I've ever lived. If you're in a spot where you're in a place where you don't know where you want to live yet, Something about being on wheels, even if you're stationary for me, just makes me feel so free. Like I can leave at a pin drop, and I can. When we finally know where home is, we can pick this bad boy up and we can go wherever we want, and I love that about RV living. We also really wanted to live a more simplified life, to raise our children, stressing the importance of experiencing things instead of owning things or accumulating things. Having a relationship with our Heavenly Father and a relationship with people rather than this tie to things, which, as you guys know, that's really what a lot of mainstream society pushes, is stuff, stuff, stuff. So our kids have really grown up so far loving people and choosing people over technology and over things, and that's a really big deal for us. I also had to turn off the AC in here just so that you guys could hear me, and I'm starting to sweat. How does baby not wake the other kids? Well, baby is actually sleeping with us on the other side of the RV, so when she does cry, the other kids are such deep sleepers and they have a sound machine that they don't really hear her. But I also have very mellow, pleasant babies, very like non-colicky. She's really not a crier at all. And if she does cry, it's nothing a little bit of milk can't fix. Having my kids sleep together in the same room has made them deep sleepers in general, and so that's really worked in our favor. List of items that we've learned to live without. Well, I'm not saying we're enjoying it, but we have learned to live without washer and dryer. That's been rough, guys. We live in a travel trailer. It is not a fifth wheel. It does not have the washer dryer option. With kids, if you can afford it, go for it. It really makes a world of a difference. We do laundry about once a week, and my husband will either do it to families when we're visiting them, thanks, or we will do it at the washer and dryer. We've also learned to live without a dishwasher, which I've actually come to appreciate. I've enjoyed just being mindful of, I don't know, the old-fashioned ways of doing things, so that actually doesn't bother me. We've learned to live without good internet because our Wi-Fi sucks and it kind of stinks in many places that we've been. We've managed to be okay with it now, but it's still kind of a pain in the booty. We also have very little counter space, which is what you see right here, which basically means we have way less opportunity for appliances. We really just have to choose what's worth it to us. Otherwise, storing appliances in the outside and bringing it in and out, it's just not realistic, and we just don't have the space. I always wonder how people with older kids do it. Okay, so I can tell where this question is going, and this is a family channel, but I will answer this because I do think a lot of people do wonder about this. There's this joke within the RV community that if kids ask why the RV is shaking, just tell them you're doing a load of laundry and the washer is on. But for us, obviously we don't have that option because we don't have laundry here. We have kids that are really good deep sleepers, and I think that's all you need to know. We don't experience that. But yeah, I think people with kids that aren't smart enough to understand yet, they just say they're doing a load of laundry and that's why the RV is rocking. Okay, next question. This is uncomfortable. Do you plan on living in an RV indefinitely or until your kids reach a certain age? We do not plan on living in an RV indefinitely. We definitely could live in here for a longer period of time if we had land. If we were living on land, then I can definitely see us living in here for a longer period while we're waiting to build. However, I personally would not want to RV live with teenagers. The idea of our kids just living in a tiny space, you know, when they're going through the teenage phase, even traveling long term in that way just doesn't really seem realistic with me. I think it's better to do it when they're tiny. I think it's better to do it when they're small, whether you're living stationary or you're traveling. So no, we will not be doing RV living forever. There are other fun journeys ahead. What's something you wish you knew before RV living with kids? How badly we'd need the washer and dryer, guys. It is getting old. It is getting old going to friends' houses, to families' houses, or to the laundry. Just because you're living tiny does not mean you will not have big messes. This is normal, okay? This will be normal. Because your space is so small, it will get messy quicker. Just because you live tiny with kids does not mean you're gonna have tiny messes. You're still gonna have the same messes that you would have in a home. They're just gonna be quicker to pick up, but also quicker to make. I also wish for kids we thought about getting 2 slides instead of just 1 slide in the kids' bunk room. It will never hurt having more space in your kids' room. And in fact, having more space in a kids' bunk room, which is also their playroom, just makes the rest of the RV feel bigger because your kids can play in their room in the RV and make it their special place, just like any other room. Our kids love their bunk room, and so I can only imagine how much more they would love it if it was even bigger. Something else I wish I knew before RVing with my kids is before getting into the RV, just having their sleeping situation set up. The first month of RVing for us was pretty rough because we didn't know how we were going to keep our kids safe in their bunks. They were still so young. They were like 3 years old and 1 year old. And so sleeping in bunk beds without any gates or any like plan was really difficult. We were setting up their pack and plays, 2 pack and plays every single night, and it was a bummer. But after the first month, my husband and I rolled up our sleeves and he built bunk bed gates that turned out excuse me, I swallowed spit. Bunk bed gates that turned out incredible, and that would be my suggestion to someone who's about to RV with kids. Make sure you know how they're gonna sleep safely before you move in, because it could be a real pain setting up and taking down a pack and play. But when you're looking at RVs, guys, pay attention to the wall space that you have so that you can utilize ways of storing things like hanging things, organizing things vertically and not just horizontally. We don't have a lot of wall space, so I thought you might like that. Do you rotate toys for them? Yes, I actually have an entire video on that I will link here and in the description box below. We do have a system where we rotate toys, kind of Montessori-like, and I explain it all in that video there. We basically have one bin that we allow to be the out-of-commission bin that holds all the toys that the kids are currently not playing with. Then when we're ready to make the switch, when the kids are bored with the toys they have, we switch it out. Everything has to fit in the bin in order to keep it. We do have a toy shelf where we let them store all their toys, and we try to make that as organized as we possibly can. But when they're bored of those toys, or when we notice they're not taking care of those toys, that's when we end up switching out for the toys in the other box. Guys, I can't even tell you how well it works because they are so excited. It's like they've got new toys for the first time in their life. I have so many questions. Do you have a fifth wheel, or the kind of RV you drive, or which do you recommend for kids? I'll tell you right now, we definitely recommend a fifth wheel just because you're gonna have so much more space. How often do you move your RV to a new location? Well, when we're traveling with the military, it could be quite often, but in between those travels, we will stay stationary for a few months. What's the sleeping situation like for the kids? The kids share a bunk room. It has one slide. We have our oldest son sleeping in the biggest top bunk, our oldest daughter sleeping in the second biggest top bunk, our 19-month-old sleeping in his pack and play underneath my daughter's bunk, and then our 2-month-old sleeping in a bassinet on our bed. They all sleep in the same room. They all sleep through the night, and so that has really worked well for us. If any of you are wondering, it can happen. Does freezing cold winter affect much in terms of the RV, but also in terms of the kids getting outdoors as much? We make sure the kids get outdoors even in the winter. We'll either make sure that we get out and we do something indoors as a family, or put on the kids' snowsuits, let them run outside. I would just suggest getting a really good pair of boots for your kids and splurging on that to keep them warm, snowsuit, hat, you know, the whole getup. Now, in terms of inside the RV, we do notice that when it does get cold and snow outside, we do get some humidity and condensation on the inside of the windows. For that, we would just recommend getting a heater. I will link the one that we use in the description box below. We also have a dehumidifier that we use to suck up some of that condensation, and I will link that in the description box below as well. The heater actually helps with removing some of the condensation, so we found that running the heater and the dehumidifier really helped during the colder months. Last question, how was postpartum gone in the RV for you versus before? Anything different? Well, I've had 2 kids now since moving in this RV, and they've grown up in here. One was born in here. There's nothing that I notice about postpartum in the RV being different from postpartum in an apartment or in a house, because I've done all. I don't know if you're asking because maybe you struggle with some postpartum depression and you're wondering if a tiny space will affect that. If being in cramped spaces you think will escalate that postpartum depression, that is a very good question to ask yourself. Sometimes you have even more access to the outdoors if you're going to be traveling, and I think that'd be good for your postpartum mental health. But what I found challenging, guys, wasn't postpartum in an RV, it was pregnancy in an RV, and I would still do it again. It's not a deal breaker at all, but the reason it was so challenging for me is because there are only so many places you can sit in an RV. For us, it's a dinette, it's a couch, it's on our bed, or it's on the lower kids' bunk bed. What I found is if you don't have comfortable places to sit being pregnant, that's really difficult. And so that was the hardest thing for me. So I would strongly consider making sure you got like a good couch or a good mattress or a good bed or something. Just consider that when you're pregnant in an RV. Well, guys, that was your questions about RV living full-time with kids. I hope that my answers helped you, and I'm sweating, so I need to go because I need to turn this AC on, and my kids, we need to get cool again. Maybe I'll do a part 2 if you guys want to know more about full-time RV living with kids, so link your questions down below. If there's any other questions you'd like me to answer or videos you'd like me to do on this channel, just put them down in the comment section below. I always respond and I would be happy to answer. If you are thinking about full-time RV living with kids, let me know what is your biggest concern in the comments down below, and I would be so excited to hear a little bit more about your story. Thank you guys so much for following. I hope that you have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.